Welcome to ETF Wrap, your weekly digest of all the top stories in European ETFs. I'm Jamie Gordon, Senior Features Reporter at ETF Stream, and this week we'll be looking at how the latest escalation in geopolitics is impacting ETFs. Elsewhere, the tussle continues for the top spots in the European ETF rankings. And finally, increasing sustainability thresholds. What does this mean for ESG ETFs? First up, an escalation between Israel and Hamas put geopolitical risk front and center across asset classes. On Monday, WisdomTree's Brent crude ETC shot up 4% on fears potential Iranian involvement would spark an energy supply shock. The prospect of higher demand for military hardware also saw new defense ETFs from Han ETF and VanEck gain 8% during the week. This benefited energy and defense-laden benchmarks such as the FTSE 100, which added over 3%. However, the conflict adds to an already uncertain picture for fixed income, with potentially higher energy prices likely to encourage central banks to maintain their hawkish policy stances. This week's news also marks just the latest geopolitical event impacting ETFs in recent years. Only this week, BlackRock began redeeming shares of its defunct Russia ETF, following Russia's invasion of Ukraine last February. Looking at ETF industry trends, Q3 saw DWS gain ground on rival firm Amundi after the German manager booked more than double the inflows of its French counterpart. DWS welcomed $7.5 billion of new money in the quarter, equivalent to almost 20% of all flows into European ETPs. This was led by products such as its equal weight S&P 500 ETF, which added $1.7 billion amid fears of overconcentration in US tech stocks. DWS's recent form marks a change in fortunes from last year, when it suffered its worst year of outflows in a decade. It also sees the firm move closer to the number 2 spot in Europe, which Amundi claimed after acquiring Lixor in January last year. Finally, there is a new trend in ESG, with issuers increasing the minimum sustainability thresholds on their ETFs. This week saw Invesco increase the thresholds on its Paris-aligned and multi-factor ETFs, following clarifications made by the EU on how sustainable investments can be measured. Under the changes, investments can be measured at a company rather than individual activity level. Invesco's decision follows a similar move by Amundi, which increased thresholds on 46 of its ETFs in August. Interestingly, both issuers said the changes would not impact the investment policies of their ETFs. The moves appear to represent regulatory shuffle rather than actual changes made to the product's sustainability credentials. And that's a wrap for this week. Thank you for joining us and see you next Friday. Until then, take care.